Good Friday morning, everybody. Schuyler Callihan here. Between the ears, we're going to wrap up the show this week with a little bit of basketball talk. And I've got to admit, I've got to get this off my chest. Give Josh Eilert the rest of this season, and then we can start talking about the coaching situation. And I know it's a hard thing to do. When you look at this team, they have been struggling from the very get-go, but a lot of that obviously out of his control. When you start the season and you don't have Kerr Kriisa, that was unexpected. I mean, they knew that could have been a possibility, but his suspension, he's out for 9 games. Raekwon Battle, Noah Farrakhan, that whole situation, they couldn't even get eligible until, what was it, December? And then you also had a cook in his medical situation that happened in the exhibition game before the season even started. You didn't know if he would even touch the floor again. And then you have Jesse Edwards, fracture his wrist. He's out for over a month. It's been one thing after another for this team. And when those things happen all within a 2 or 3 month span, kind of makes sense as to why they're currently sitting at 8-14. Now, when you look at this roster, it's not an 8-14 roster. Not even close. I think if they're fully healthy from the get-go, you have Kerr Kriisa from game one. Again, I still stick to it. I think you could just reverse the record. I think they're probably about a 14-8 team, or somewhere in that ballpark. But the reason I'm talking about this is because I think we as media, and I'm sure the fans, I know the fans have done this, where they're starting to throw out all these list of names and potential candidates. To me, it's disrespectful to do it in this type of a situation, right? Where Eilert's already gone through hell and back a million times, seemingly, since he's taken this job. And we all knew that before the season that this was going to be a challenge. We didn't know that a cook was going to have a medical situation. We did not know that Jesse Edwards would miss over a month. So that's two additional things that happened that we did not expect in what was already going to be an uphill battle. So you've got to give this guy time. It's only right. It's only fair. He's the interim for a reason. He was thrown into a crap situation. So give him till the end of the year. It's only a handful of more games. They're not going to make a deep run. Maybe they make a deep run in Kansas City. But if they don't, they're not going to be playing the NCAA tournament. And I highly, highly doubt they'll be accepting a bid to any other tournament because, let's face it, if there's going to be a potential change, most of these kids are not going to be here. But maybe they do. Who knows? I just think it's disrespectful. It's another distraction to start throwing out all these names like I've seen on social media over the last couple of days talking about Dusty May and Nico Medved and just so on and so forth. And look, I get it. It's easy as a fan to do it. For those in the media that are doing it, I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like, I'm not going to talk about the coaching situation, who could fit at West Virginia, until they have played their last game. That's just how I'm going to do it. Now, if somebody asks me my opinion about it, like I've been asked several questions about it in our weekly mailbag, I'll give my answer. That's my duty to answer your questions in the mailbag. But I'm not going to bring it up by myself and start talking about what coaches fit, what schemes fit, what types of players could go with certain coaches. I'm just not doing that. Not until the final game has been played. But I think we all kind of need to take a step back and understand the like look, there's a lot of season left. I mean, it may not seem like it, but there still is, and that's again another reason why I'm kind of holding myself back from this into jumping in with others and starting to talk about what other coaches fit, because let's be honest, this is a talented group, and if they figure things out, they can make a run. They can figure something out and do something in Kansas City. I mean, they've beaten quality teams in this league already. Now it's about just building consistency. Take it from somebody who has covered multiple coaching fires over the last 2 to 3 years. The one in particular that really kind of has changed my view on interim situations was Steve Wilks at the Carolina Panthers. He took over a really tough situation. Team was just absolutely stuck in the mud. Offensively, defensively, they were playing okay, but not great. There was kind of some mixed signals on the defensive side about what they needed to do. He takes it over. They're 1-4. They have no idea what to do at quarterback. It's going to be Baker. It's going to be Sam Darnold. Who knows? They lose the first 2 of 3 games that he coaches as the interim, and everyone's just like, "Man, just get this to the end of the season. It's a crapshoot." You feel bad for Steve. He was thrown in this bad situation. I mean, this is a Charlotte guy, and you know he really wants it bad, but let's just get to the end of the year. Well, as people were starting to say those things and talk about what coach the Panthers should be hiring next, he started to win some ball games. And all of a sudden, you turn around and he's playing for an NFC South division title. If the Panthers beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in week 17, they're going to the playoffs. They're going to the playoffs. And everybody, even after they lost that game, they come back, they beat New Orleans in week 18, and everybody is saying, you know what? The situation that Steve Wilks was in was almost impossible. Yet he dragged that team out of the mud and took them onto the cusp of making the playoffs. That has to be his team moving forward. Hell of a coaching job. One of the best coaching jobs I've ever seen personally. He should have got that job. The Panthers didn't want to go to the route of not doing the sexy hire and just promoting Steve Wilks from interim to head coach. And instead, they go out and hire a fired head coach in Frank Reich, who, by the way, didn't interview anywhere else. And he lasted all of 11 games. I know I'm getting way off the path here in terms of WVU, but this is it. They tie together. Okay. This is what I'm saying with the interim situation. The very same thing can happen with Josh Eilert. Not saying it will, but this is a talented group. Again, if they figure things out, they can make a run in Kansas City, and who knows, maybe they come, say, a game within winning the Big 12 tournament. Does your view on Josh Eilert change? Yeah, I bet it does. And instead, we're not talking about some guy that's in Conference USA that had a 500 ish record for the first 3 or 4 years before putting it together with an all-star roster for the last 2 years, who is still losing a handful of games to low-level teams. No disrespect to Dusty May. He has done a great job to turn that thing around, but it's taken him time. It's not like he's stepped in and just ran with it from day one. So let's take a step back. Let's not jump the gun. Let's evaluate this season. Let's see how it goes, and let it all play out. Because at the end of the day, if Josh Eilert is supposed to be the full-time head coach moving forward, it's going to happen. If he's not, then that's going to happen too. But there's still a lot of data points that this team and he has to cross and check off first before we can truly make that evaluation. Nothing is impossible. And I'm saying this now from a guy that covered that Panthers coaching situation. If this team were to win 7 out of 8 games, we're all of a sudden talking about Josh Eilert getting this team that was 8-14 to rally and stick together instead of fracturing and giving up because they were 8-14 and had no chance at the NCAA tournament, more than likely. And if they win that many in a row, that's got to mean something, man. So again, I know we're talking ifs, we're talking hypotheticals, but this is why I'm saying when you have this much runway left, let's pump the brakes a little bit. If there was a game or two left, I could understand kicking around the idea, but there's not. So let's give Josh his time. We'll see what happens. Now, I'm saying all this, and they may get curb stomped tomorrow by 30 against Texas, and that's very, very possible. They're going to be looking for revenge. But I'm just saying this as let's just be fair to Josh in this crappy situation that he's been thrown into. He's done everything that he can possibly do to keep this team together throughout everything that they've been through. Let's at least give them these next handful of games to get through the rest of the season in the Big 12 tournament, and then we can make our call. So that'll do it for me here today and for this week here on Between the Ears. I'm Schuyler Callihan. Make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube at Mountaineers Now. Give us a like and a follow on X at the same handle. We'll be back Monday with a new episode, but in the meantime, you can catch me tomorrow on the postgame show with Christopher Hall as we recap West Virginia and Texas. So until tomorrow, take care.